He called me a decorative doll in front of the entire boardroom, then laughed when I pitched my ideas. He didn't know one thing. While they were busy mocking me, I'd already prepared a plan that would cost the company their biggest clients worth over $600 million, and when the final blow landed, not a single soul saw it coming, until it was far too late. They thought I was just another engineer they could step on. They were wrong. My name is Elise Morgan, and I've spent 7 years building something extraordinary at Artemis Analytics. 7 years of late nights, missed birthdays, and cold takeout dinners at my desk. 7 years watching my AI algorithms transform from theoretical concepts into the backbone of a billion-dollar enterprise data solution. I was 32, had 3 patents pending, and knew every line of code in our core system like a mother knows her child's face. Everything changed the morning Richard Hale walked through our glass doors. The acquisition had been announced 2 weeks prior. Our founder was retiring, and Hale Industries was absorbing us into their tech portfolio. We'd all been nervous, but I'd foolishly believed my work would speak for itself. After all, I was the lead AI systems engineer, the platform generating 70% of our revenue. That was mine. Richard Hale brought his son with him. Liam Hale strutted into our offices at 9:30 sharp that Monday morning. Designer suit perfectly tailored, platinum watch catching the light, 28 years old, MBA from Wharton, and absolutely zero technical experience. His new title, Chief Operating Officer. The all-hands meeting was scheduled for 10. I sat in the third row, laptop open, ready to present the quarterly roadmap I'd been perfecting. Our AI platform was about to revolutionize predictive analytics for enterprise clients. I had the data, the projections, the proof. Before we discuss mundane operational matters, Richard announced from the podium, I want to introduce the new leadership structure. Liam will be overseeing all technical divisions, including our AI development team. My stomach dropped. I watched Liam smirk as he took the microphone. I've reviewed your so-called innovations, he said, his eyes finding mine in the crowd. Frankly, I'm not impressed. We need less academic theory and more practical applications. I raised my hand. With respect, our AI platform has increased client retention by 43%. The predictive modeling alone. See, this is exactly the problem, Liam interrupted, laughing. He actually laughed. We have engineers playing dress-up as strategists. Elise, right? You're like a decorative doll someone propped up in the boardroom. Cute ideas. But let's leave the real business decisions to those of us who understand market dynamics. The room went silent. 100 pairs of eyes watched me, waiting. My face burned, but I kept my expression neutral. Several colleagues shifted uncomfortably. Maya from DevOps caught my eye. Her jaw clenched in secondhand fury. Your little AI project, Liam continued, waving dismissively. This pipe dream about automated decision trees and neural networks, it's overly complex academic nonsense. Our clients want simple solutions, not your science fiction fantasies. Science fiction fantasies, the platform I'd built from scratch. The one processing 200 million data points per second. The technology 3 competitors had tried to poach me for he'd reduced it to fantasy. I closed my laptop quietly. I see. Thank you for the feedback. Liam's grin widened, mistaking my calm for submission. Good. I'm glad we understand each other. Moving forward, all technical proposals will go through my office first. We need to streamline these ambitious ideas into something actually sellable. The meeting continued for another hour. I didn't speak again, but I listened. God, did I listen? To every dismissive comment, every restructuring plan, every indication that Liam and his father were planning something bigger with my technology. After the meeting, I overheard Liam talking to his father near the elevator. They didn't notice me by the water cooler. The AI platform is our ticket to the Horizon Dynamics deal, Liam said. 600 million, minimum. We just need to repackage it without all her unnecessary complications. What about Morgan? Richard asked. She'll fall in line or we'll replace her. These engineer types always do. They're too focused on their code to see the bigger picture. They stepped into the elevator, and I stood there, paper cup crumpling in my hand. They wanted to steal my work, sell it for hundreds of millions, and they thought I'd just let them. I walked back to my office, closed the door, and pulled up my employment contract. Section 47B, Intellectual Property Rights. Every patent I'd developed outside of standard working hours remained my personal property. The company had licensing rights for internal use only. They'd made one critical mistake. They'd assumed I was just another engineer. They were about to learn exactly how wrong they were. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my home office, surrounded by 7 years of documentation, every commit log, every development journal, every timestamp proving that the core AI algorithms were built on my personal equipment, during my own time. The employment contract I'd negotiated when I joined Artemis was crystal clear. Innovations developed outside standard business hours using personal resources remained my intellectual property. The company held exclusive licensing rights for internal operations only. At 3:45 a.m., I found what I was looking for in the server logs. Someone had accessed the restricted AI development partition using admin credentials. The timestamp matched exactly with when Liam had his orientation tour of our tech infrastructure. Files had been copied, my files. Marcus, one of our senior developers and my closest ally at Artemis, called me the next morning. "Elise, you need to see this," he whispered into the phone. "Can you meet me at the coffee shop on 5th Knot in the office?" 20 minutes later, Marcus slid a folder across the table. His hands were shaking. I was updating the client dashboard when I stumbled onto a shared drive I shouldn't have access to, he said. "It's labeled Project Synthesis. Elise, they're packaging your entire AI framework for external sale." I opened the folder. Screenshots of internal communications between Liam and someone at Horizon Dynamics. They were negotiating the transfer of our AI technology, my technology, for $600 million. The deal included full source code, all training datasets, and exclusive rights to future iterations. "There's more," Marcus continued. "They've scheduled a demo for Horizon's board in 3 weeks. Liam's been telling everyone it's a new partnership initiative. But look at this." He showed me an email thread. Liam had instructed the legal team to draft new documentation showing the AI platform was developed entirely as work for hire under company resources. They were retroactively falsifying development records. "They're erasing you from your own creation," Marcus said, "making it look like you were just following company directives, not innovating independently." I studied the documents, my mind racing. "Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Can you check when the last full system backup was run?" 2 weeks ago, right before the acquisition finalized. Why? "Because that backup will show the original development logs, the real ones, with accurate timestamps and resource allocations. They can't falsify what's already archived off-site." Marcus's eyes widened. "The immutable backups. They're stored on the third-party disaster recovery servers." "Exactly. And I need one more thing." I pulled out my laptop. "I need you to verify that this code signature matches what's currently running on the production servers." I showed him a specific function in the AI's core decision engine, a tiny authentication module I'd built in from day one, commenting it as a diagnostic tool. It was invisible during normal operations, but it checked for a valid license key every 72 hours. Without it, the system would gradually degrade, appearing to work normally while subtly corrupting its own outputs. Marcus stared at the screen. "Elise, this is..." "Insurance," I finished. "I always knew someone might try to steal this. I just never thought it would be quite so blatant." That afternoon, I watched from my office as Liam conducted a video call with Horizon Dynamics. He was demoing my AI platform, explaining capabilities he didn't understand, making promises about features that didn't exist. He claimed his team had been developing this for 2 years under his guidance. I recorded everything on my phone. By end of day, I'd gathered enough evidence to bury them, but I needed to be strategic. If I moved too early, they'd find a way to spin it, maybe even fire me for cause and tie everything up in litigation for years. No, I needed them to commit fully, to sign papers, make public announcements, stake their entire reputation on this theft. The Horizon deal was set to close in 3 weeks with a massive signing ceremony. They were already sending out press releases about Artemis's revolutionary new direction under visionary leadership. I smiled, remembering Liam's words about me being a decorative doll. In 3 weeks. This doll was going to show them exactly what happened when you tried to steal from someone who understood the code better than you understood your own lies. The countdown had begun. $600 million were about to evaporate, and Liam Hale would have a front-row seat to watch his empire crumble. The law offices of Rhodes & Associates occupied the top floor of a downtown high-rise. Samantha Rhodes herself met me in the marble lobby at 6 p.m. sharp, after everyone at Artemis thought I'd gone home for the day. "Ms. Morgan," she said, her handshake firm and eyes sharp. "Marcus spoke highly of your situation. I've reviewed the preliminary documents you sent. This is going to be interesting." In her conference room, I laid out everything: employment contract, development logs, patents filed under my personal LLC, and the smoking gun timestamps proving 90% of the AI platform was built on my personal MacBook Pro, which I'd brought with me. Samantha examined each document meticulously. "They've made a critical error. Your contract explicitly states that only work performed during company hours using company resources belongs to Artemis. These logs show development sessions at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., weekends, holidays, all on your personal equipment." "There's more," I said, pulling up my laptop. "I need to show you something in the code itself." I walked her through the authentication module, the hidden safeguard I'd embedded 3 years ago when a competitor first tried to poach our technology through a suspicious partnership. "It's not malicious," I explained. "It simply verifies that the user has proper licensing, without the correct key, which only I can generate. The system begins introducing minor inconsistencies, nothing dangerous, just enough to make the outputs unreliable, like a photographer's watermark, but for algorithms." Samantha leaned back, a slow smile spreading across her face. "You built in a kill switch." "A validation protocol," I corrected. "Completely legal under intellectual property law. It's my code, my creation. I have every right to protect it from unauthorized use. And they're about to demonstrate this system to Horizon Dynamics without your permission. In 18 days, she pulled out a legal pad. "Here's what we're going to do. First, we file for an emergency injunction, but we don't serve it yet. We want them to think they're safe. Second, we prepare cease and desist letters for both Artemis and Horizon to be delivered at exactly the right moment." "The signing ceremony," I said. "Precisely. Maximum visibility, maximum damage. But Elise, I need you to understand something. Once we do this, there's no going back. They'll come after you with everything they have." I thought about Liam's smirk, his dismissive laugh, the way he'd called my life's work a fantasy. "They already have. They just don't know I'm fighting back yet." Over the next week, I maintained my facade at work. I attended meetings, nodded along to Liam's increasingly grandiose plans, even submitted some minor bug fixes to maintain appearances. Meanwhile, Samantha's team was building our case. Then Liam made his next mistake. He called me into his office on a Thursday afternoon. "Elise, I need you to sign this." It was a retroactive invention assignment agreement, backdated 6 months. It would transfer all my intellectual property rights to Artemis, including work done on personal time. "This is just a formality," he said, that insufferable smile playing on his lips. "For the Horizon deal, they need assurance that we own everything outright." I pretended to read it carefully. "I'll need to have my lawyer review this." His smile vanished. "Your lawyer? Why would you need a lawyer unless—" His eyes narrowed. "Unless you're planning something." "Standard practice for any contract modification," I said calmly. "I'm sure you understand, being such a visionary business leader." His face reddened. "Sign it now, or clear out your desk." "Are you terminating me?" "I'm giving you a choice." I stood up. "Then I choose to have my lawyer review it. You'll have my answer by Monday." "The Horizon demo is Tuesday." "Then you'd better hope my lawyer works weekends." I walked out of his office, feeling his glare burning into my back, in the elevator. I texted Samantha. "They're panicking. Moved up our timeline." Her response was immediate. "Perfect. Let them sweat." That night, I worked from home, putting the finishing touches on my trap. I pushed one final update to the production servers, a tiny modification that would log every access attempt with precise timestamps and user credentials. If they tried to steal my code during the demo, I'd have irrefutable proof. I also registered a new company, Aegis Nova Technologies. If Artemis wanted to play games with my creation, I'd be ready to offer Horizon and every other client a better alternative. The real version. The one that actually worked. My phone buzzed. Marcus had sent a screenshot from the company Slack. Liam had just announced that I was taking a brief sabbatical and wouldn't be attending the Horizon demonstration. I smiled. They thought they'd won by pushing me out. They had no idea that I didn't need to be in the building to watch their world collapse. The timer on my validation protocol had been counting down for 71 hours. In 25 hours, at exactly the moment Liam would be showing off his revolutionary AI platform to a room full of investors and journalists, my code would ask for a license key that didn't exist. And I would be sitting in Samantha's office, ready to serve papers that would destroy everything they'd built on the foundation of my stolen work. The sabbatical announcement was just the beginning. Within hours, my company email was restricted to internal communications only. My keycard access was downgraded, limiting me to common areas and my office. The GitHub repository privileges I'd held for 7 years were revoked without notice. Maya caught me in the parking garage Friday morning. "They're telling everyone you had a breakdown," she whispered, glancing around nervously, that the pressure of the Horizon project was too much. "Let them," I said, loading a box of personal items into my car. "What else are they saying?" "Liam's brought in a team of contractors. They're supposedly optimizing your code for the demo. Elise, they're butchering it. They don't understand the interdependencies. I watched them try to remove what they called redundant validation loops. Those weren't redundant. They were part of my security architecture. Maya, I need you to stay clear of this. Don't defend me. Don't question them. Just document everything you see." She grabbed my arm. "You're planning something." "I'm taking a sabbatical," I said with a slight smile. "Didn't you hear?" Monday arrived with a flood of texts from colleagues. Liam had held an all-hands meeting announcing that the AI platform would be streamlined for market efficiency under his direct supervision. He'd actually used PowerPoint slides with my code screenshots, explaining my work incorrectly to a room full of people who knew better, but were too afraid to correct him. Marcus sent me a recording. Liam's voice boomed with confidence. "The previous implementation was unnecessarily complex. My team has simplified it into something our clients can actually use." Then came the kicker. Elise Morgan's contributions, while appreciated, were primarily in execution rather than innovation. The vision was always mine. I listened to it 3 times, saving copies to multiple drives. Samantha would love this. At my kitchen table, I watched the Artemis servers through a monitoring dashboard I'd maintained on my personal AWS account. They'd never known about it, a shadow system that tracked performance metrics and access patterns. The contractors were actively breaking things. Response times had increased by 300%. Error rates were spiking. But they wouldn't notice until the demo. The AI was smart enough to compensate temporarily, drawing on cached responses and predictive modeling to mask the damage. It was like watching someone saw through a bridge cable while standing on it, oblivious to the creaking sounds. Tuesday morning, Liam sent a company-wide email. "Team, I'm pleased to announce that following today's successful demonstration, Artemis Analytics will be entering a transformative partnership with Horizon Dynamics. This deal, valued at over $600 million, will establish us as the premier AI solutions provider in the enterprise space." He included a note at the bottom. "Special thanks to our engineering team for their supporting role in bringing my vision to life." I forwarded it to Samantha with one word: perfect. At lunch, I sat in a small restaurant across from the Artemis building, laptop open, watching the server metrics in real time. The demo was scheduled for 2 p.m. The validation check would trigger at 2:15 p.m., exactly 72 hours after my last authorized update. My phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Morgan. The voice was unfamiliar, professional. "This is Janet Kim from Horizon Dynamics. I'm calling about some concerns we have regarding the AI platform demonstration today." My pulse quickened. "What kind of concerns?" "We've been conducting our own technical due diligence. Some things don't add up. The patent filings, for instance, are all under your name, not Artemis. And the development history suggests this was largely created outside of company resources. That's correct, I said carefully. We've also noticed that Mr. Hale seems unfamiliar with basic aspects of the technology. When we asked about the neural network architecture, he deflected to marketing speak. Ms. Kim, are you recording this call? No. This is off the record. I'm trying to understand what we're actually buying for $600 million. I made a decision. You're not buying anything. You're about to witness the most expensive fraud attempt in tech history. I suggest you have your legal team present at the demo. Silence. Then, are you willing to discuss alternative arrangements if this technology is truly yours? Watch the demo first, I said. Then we'll talk. I hung up and texted Samantha. Horizon knows something's wrong. Her reply, good, makes our job easier. At 1:45 p.m., I opened my monitoring dashboard and watched as hundreds of users logged into the demo environment. Investors, journalists, Horizon's board of directors, all preparing to witness Artemis's revolutionary platform. I pulled up the validation protocol status. 15 minutes until it triggered. 15 minutes until Liam's borrowed kingdom crumbled. My phone buzzed with a message from Marcus. They're starting. Liam's on stage. He just said you're on medical leave for exhaustion. I typed back, tell everyone to watch closely at 2:15. What happens at 2:15? Justice. I maximized the server monitoring window, watching the real-time traffic spike as demo users flooded the system. Everything was running smoothly. Liam would be basking in the admiration, probably already spending his commission. The clock on my laptop showed 1:59 p.m. 16 minutes until the avalanche began. The countdown consumed my entire focus. 5 days until the demo, and the pressure was mounting from all sides. Samantha had assembled a legal strike team, preparing 2 separate volleys of documentation. The cease and desist letters were works of art, surgical, precise, and devastating. We'll file these with the court at exactly 2:10 p.m. on demo day, Samantha explained during our Wednesday strategy session. The judge has already reviewed our preliminary injunction request. Given the evidence, she's prepared to issue an emergency order. What about the backup evidence? I asked. Already subpoenaed from your third-party backup provider, they confirmed the immutable logs showing all development occurred on your personal equipment. Liam's falsified documents claim work started in January 2023, but your logs go back to November 2021. 2 days before the demo, panic set in at Artemis. The contractors Liam hired had broken more than they'd fixed. Marcus risked his job to send me screenshots of the internal Slack channels. Urgent AI response times degraded by 400%. Critical bug in predictive module need Elise's documentation. Why are there authentication callbacks we can't trace? Liam's response to all concerns was the same, fix it, we demo in 48 hours. They tried calling me 17 times on Thursday. I didn't answer. Instead, I spent the day finalizing Aegis Nova Technologies Incorporation papers and preparing my own demonstration environment, the real AI platform, running flawlessly on secured servers I controlled. Thursday night, desperation drove them to my apartment. At 11:45 p.m., Richard Hale himself stood at my door with Liam and their head of legal. Elise, Richard's voice was strained. We need to talk. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. It's rather late for a social visit. Cut the crap, Liam snarled. What did you do to the code? I didn't do anything. I've been on sabbatical. Remember medical leave for exhaustion, according to your announcement. Their lawyer, a nervous man named Davidson, cleared his throat. Ms. Morgan, we're prepared to offer you a substantial bonus to ensure tomorrow's demonstration goes smoothly. How substantial? $500,000. I laughed, actually laughed. You're about to make $600 million on my work, and you're offering me $500,000. $1 million, Richard said quickly. No. What do you want? Liam's face was red, fists clenched. I want you to admit, in writing, that the AI platform is my intellectual property, developed outside company hours on personal equipment. That's extortion. That's the truth, I countered. You have 2 choices. Sign an acknowledgement of my ownership and negotiate a legitimate licensing deal, or proceed with your demo tomorrow and face the consequences. Richard stepped forward. You're threatening us. I'm informing you of reality. The authentication protocol in my code will validate ownership at 2:15 p.m. tomorrow. Without proper licensing, it won't function correctly. That's not a threat. It's a feature I built 3 years ago to protect my intellectual property. We'll sue you into bankruptcy, Liam spat. With what grounds I built security into my own creation? You're the ones who copied it without permission, falsified documents, and are attempting to sell property you don't own. I pulled out my phone, showing them an email. Horizon Dynamics already knows something's wrong. They called me yesterday, after your demo fails. Who do you think they'll want to work with, the company that tried to defraud them, or the actual creator of the technology? Davidson whispered urgently to Richard. I caught fragments. Exposure. Criminal fraud. Shareholder lawsuits. 24 hours, I said, starting to close the door. You have until 2 p.m. tomorrow to publicly acknowledge my ownership and negotiate in good faith, or you can proceed with your demo and watch it burn. You vindictive bitch, Liam snarled. No, I said calmly. I'm an engineer who protected her code. You're the one who called me a decorative doll. Tomorrow, you'll learn what I really am. I closed the door on their stunned faces. Friday morning arrived gray and drizzling, pathetic fallacy at its finest. I dressed carefully, my best suit, the one I'd worn to accept the Innovation Award 2 years ago. If I was going to destroy them, I'd look impeccable doing it. Samantha met me at her office at noon. They haven't responded to our offer. Nothing. They're gambling I'm bluffing. Are you? I pulled up my laptop, showing her the authentication monitor. In 2 hours and 15 minutes, every instance of my AI platform will check for a valid license key. When it doesn't find one, it will enter safe mode functional enough to avoid immediate crashes. But every output will include error margins of plus or minus 80%, making all predictions worthless. And you can stop this with one command, if they acknowledge my ownership. Samantha's smile was sharp. They won't. Their ego won't let them. My phone showed 1:30 p.m., 45 minutes until the demo started. My monitoring dashboard displayed increasing activity as attendees logged into the demo environment. 300 users and climbing. Marcus texted, Liam looks nervous. He keeps checking his phone. Then another. Holy shit, the entire tech press is here. TechCrunch, Wired, The Information. This is huge. I texted back, is Horizon's board there? Front row. Their CEO looks skeptical. 30 minutes to demo. No word from Artemis Legal. 20 minutes. Samantha's team was in position at the courthouse. 10 minutes. My heart was pounding. At 1:55 p.m., my phone rang. Richard Hale. We'll give you $2 million to fix this, right now. Acknowledgement of ownership and a licensing negotiation. We don't have time. You had 7 years while I built this. You had 2 weeks since you arrived. You had 24 hours since I warned you. Time's up, Richard. I hung up. 2 p.m., the demo had begun. The Artemis Analytics demo was being broadcast live on their corporate YouTube channel. I had it streaming on my laptop while Samantha's team prepared for the kill shot. The production value was impressive, multiple camera angles, professional lighting, a stage that screamed, "We're worth $600 million." Liam stood at the podium, confidence radiating from every gesture despite the panic I knew was churning beneath. Behind him, a massive screen displayed the AI platform's interface. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his voice echoing through the auditorium. Today marks a transformative moment in enterprise analytics. What you're about to witness isn't just software, it's the future of data-driven decision-making. 2:05 p.m., 10 minutes until detonation. He clicked through the demo, showing real-time data processing, predictive modeling, pattern recognition. Everything worked flawlessly. The audience was engaged, some taking notes, others recording on their phones. The Horizon Dynamics CEO leaned forward, clearly impressed. Now, Liam announced, let me demonstrate our revolutionary instant scaling capability. I'm going to invite all of you to access the platform simultaneously. Please scan the QR code on your screens. 200 phones rose in unison. The server metrics on my monitoring dashboard spiked 300, 400, 500 concurrent users. 2:12 p.m., 3 minutes. Marcus texted, "He's showing the financial prediction module. Just promised 97% accuracy." I almost felt bad for him, almost. 2:14 p.m., 1 minute. Liam was in his element now, gesturing grandly at charts and graphs. "As you can see, our proprietary algorithms I personally oversaw the development of are processing your queries in real time with unprecedented accuracy." 2:15 p.m. For a moment, nothing happened. The demo continued smoothly. Liam's smile widened. Had I miscalculated? Had they somehow bypassed? Then the first error message appeared, small, almost unnoticeable. In the corner of the main display, license authentication failed. Liam didn't see it, but some in the audience did. Murmurs rippled through the front rows. The AI continued processing requests, but now the outputs were changing. A financial prediction that had shown 87% probability of growth suddenly read 87% plus 80% probability of growth. The margin of error made the prediction worthless. "What's happening with these numbers?" someone called out. Liam turned to the screen, his face paling. More error messages cascaded across the interface. Authentication failed. Operating in restricted mode. License key required for full functionality. He frantically clicked through menus, trying to restore normal operation, but every action triggered more warnings. The pattern recognition module started identifying random correlations. The predictive engine suggested a tech company should invest in horse carriages with 95% plus 80% confidence. "Technical difficulties," Liam stammered. "Just a minor glitch." The Horizon CEO stood up. "Mr. Hale, your platform appears to be requesting a license for software you claim to own." Before Liam could respond, every phone in the auditorium buzzed simultaneously. Samantha had timed it perfectly. The cease and desist orders had been electronically served to Artemis, Horizon Dynamics, and every major tech journalist in attendance. A TechCrunch reporter stood up, reading from her phone. Artemis Analytics accused of intellectual property theft, $600 million fraud, emergency injunction filed. The screen behind Liam displayed a final message. "This AI platform is the intellectual property of Elise Morgan. Unauthorized use is prohibited. For licensing inquiries, contact Aegis Nova Technologies." Chaos erupted. Reporters surrounded Liam, shouting questions. The Horizon board was huddled with their legal team. Richard Hale was screaming into his phone. I pulled up my email and sent one message to the entire Artemis company directory, including the board of directors. "This is Elise Morgan. As you've just witnessed, the AI platform Artemis is attempting to sell belongs to me, developed on my personal time with my own resources. I have extensive documentation proving this, which has been filed with the court. I offered Artemis the opportunity to negotiate a legitimate licensing agreement. They chose theft instead. Effective immediately. Any use of my technology without proper licensing is illegal. I've incorporated Aegis Nova Technologies to offer this platform to clients who value both innovation and integrity." To my former colleagues, "You know who really built this? You watched me work nights and weekends for 7 years. You debugged code with me at 3 a.m. You celebrated when we achieved breakthroughs everyone said were impossible." To Liam Hale, "You called me a decorative doll. You said my work was fantasy. You thought you could steal 7 years of my life and sell it for personal gain. This is what happens when you underestimate an engineer." To potential clients, "The real platform, the one that actually works, is available through Aegis Nova Technologies. No lies, no theft, just revolutionary technology from its actual creator. The demo you just watched fail. That was my code protecting itself from thieves. Imagine what it can do when properly licensed and fully operational." Within minutes, my inbox exploded. Venture capitalists, potential clients, reporters, former colleagues, everyone wanted to talk. But the best message came from Janet Kim at Horizon Dynamics. "Ms. Morgan, we'd like to discuss moving our $600 million investment to Aegis Nova Technologies. Are you available for a meeting Monday?" I smiled. watching the live stream as security escorted Liam off the stage. The stock ticker on my phone showed Artemis Analytics had dropped 37% in the 12 minutes since the demo failed. I typed my response to Janet. I'll have my legal team contact yours. And Ms. Kim, the price just went up to $700 million. She replied immediately, given what we just witnessed, that seems more than fair. Game over. I'd won. The 48 hours following the demo disaster were a massacre in slow motion. I watched from my apartment, laptop open to multiple news feeds, as Artemis Analytics imploded in real time. Saturday morning, the Wall Street Journal ran a front-page story. The $600 million fraud. That wasn't how Artemis Analytics tried to sell stolen code. By noon, Artemis stock had dropped 62%. Trading was halted twice. Richard Hale held an emergency press conference, trying to control the narrative. This is a misunderstanding between the company and a disgruntled former employee, he claimed, sweat visible even through the live stream. We're confident the courts will side with Artemis. 2 hours later, Samantha released the evidence publicly, the immutable backup logs, the employment contract clearly stating my intellectual property rights, screenshots of Liam's emails about repackaging my work, the falsified documents with their sloppy timestamp forgeries. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced an investigation into Artemis for attempted fraud. 3 board members resigned immediately. A 4th issued a statement distancing himself from management decisions made without board approval. Sunday brought more revelations. A whistleblower I suspected Maya but never confirmed leaked internal communications to TechCrunch. The emails showed Liam explicitly instructing staff to remove my name from documentation, to delete commit histories, to create a paper trail showing company ownership. But the killing blow came from an unexpected source. 15 of Artemis's largest clients issued a joint statement. Given the serious legal and ethical concerns surrounding Artemis Analytics leadership and their apparent theft of intellectual property, we are suspending all contracts pending resolution of these matters. The suspended contracts totaled $1.2 billion. Monday morning, I walked into the offices of Horizon Dynamics, wearing the same suit I'd worn to watch Artemis burn. Janet Kim met me in the lobby with her entire executive team. Ms. Morgan, she said, shaking my hand. That was quite a demonstration on Friday. That wasn't a demonstration, I replied. That was justice. The boardroom was intimidating floor-to-ceiling windows, a table that could seat 30, and the kind of silence that only comes with serious money. But I'd spent 7 years building something extraordinary. I wasn't about to be intimidated now. Let's cut to the chase, Janet said. We've done our due diligence over the weekend. Your ownership is undisputed. The technology is revolutionary. We want it. The price is $700 million, I stated. For exclusive rights. For a 5-year exclusive license in the financial sector only. I retain ownership and can license to non-competing industries. Their CFO shifted. That's not what we discussed with Artemis. Artemis tried to sell you something they didn't own. I'm offering you something better, a legitimate partnership with the actual creator, ongoing development, and custom implementations for your specific needs. And if we want full ownership, it's not for sale, but think about it. Would you rather own static code that you don't fully understand, or have an exclusive partnership with the person who built it and continues to evolve it? They exchanged glances. Janet smiled. $700 million for 5 years exclusive in financial services, with first rights to renewal. Deal. We shook hands. $700 million. More than Artemis ever dreamed of. That afternoon, Richard Hale called me personally. Elise, please, the company is dying. We've lost everything. You lost everything the moment you let your son call me a decorative doll. He's been terminated. The board fired both of us this morning. I felt a flicker of sympathy for Richard, but only a flicker. You had every opportunity to make this right. Our investors are suing. The SEC is investigating. We're looking at criminal charges for fraud. I know. You've destroyed us. No, Richard, you destroyed yourselves. I just refuse to be your victim. Tuesday's headlines were brutal. Artemis Analytics files for emergency bankruptcy protection. Liam Hale under federal investigation for securities fraud. Mass exodus as Artemis engineers jump ship. My phone hadn't stopped ringing. Every major tech company wanted to discuss licensing. Venture capitalists were throwing term sheets at me. Marcus and 12 other top engineers from Artemis had applied to join Aegis Nova. Wednesday morning, I held my first official meeting as CEO of Aegis Nova Technologies. We'd secured temporary office space, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Maya, Marcus, and 5 other former Artemis colleagues sat around the conference table. Before we start, I said, I want to be clear. We're not Artemis 2.0. We're building something better. No lies, no theft, no treating engineers like decorative dolls. They laughed, but it was cathartic laughter. We'd all survived something together. Our first client is Horizon Dynamics, I continued. $700 million over 5 years. We have meetings scheduled with 6 other Fortune 500 companies this week. Conservative estimate. We'll clear $1 billion in contracts within 3 months. Marcus raised his coffee mug. To Elise Morgan, who reminded Silicon Valley why you don't fuck with engineers. Thursday brought the final satisfaction. A process server found me at Aegis Nova's office with legal documents. Artemis was suing me for sabotage, theft of trade secrets, and tortious interference. I looked at the paperwork and laughed. They were suing me from bankruptcy, with lawyers they couldn't afford, for technology I provably owned. Samantha called within minutes. They're desperate. This is their Hail Mary. Let them come, I said. We have the truth, the documentation, and 700 million reasons why we're right. By Friday, 1 week after the failed demo, Artemis Analytics was delisted from the stock exchange. Their offices were closed, assets frozen, executives under investigation. I stood in my new office, looking out at the city skyline, my reflection visible in the window. Not a decorative doll, not a supporting player in someone else's vision. An engineer who'd protected her code and built an empire from the ashes of those who'd tried to steal it. My phone buzzed, another client wanting to discuss licensing. I smiled and answered. Aegis Nova Technologies, Elise Morgan speaking. 2 months later, I stood in Aegis Nova's real headquarters, a gleaming space in the same building where Artemis once operated. We'd bought out their lease at bankruptcy auction for pennies on the dollar. Poetic Justice had a beautiful view of the bay. Ms. Morgan, Forbes is here for your interview, my assistant announced. The reporter sat across from me, recorder running. Your company has secured $1.3 billion in contracts in 8 weeks. That's unprecedented for a startup. We're not really a startup, I corrected. We're 7 years of innovation finally unleashed from corporate theft. Speaking of theft, Liam Hale's trial starts next week. I'm aware. Will you testify? If asked, but the evidence speaks for itself. 23 counts of fraud, intellectual property theft, and conspiracy. His own emails are the prosecution's star witness. She leaned forward. No satisfaction in his downfall. My satisfaction comes from building something real. Liam's downfall is just consequences catching up. After the interview, I walked through our offices, 43 employees now, including 22 former Artemis engineers who'd joined us. Maya headed our client success team. Marcus ran infrastructure. We'd even hired some of the contractors Liam had brought in. They were good engineers, just given impossible tasks. My phone lit up with a LinkedIn notification. Richard Hale had viewed my profile. I clicked through to his. Seeking new opportunities, his headline read. From CEO to unemployable in 8 weeks. That afternoon, Horizon Dynamics called with news. Elise, we want to expand our contract. Our competitors are sniffing around your non-financial licenses. We'd like to discuss exclusivity across all sectors. That would be $2 billion for 5 years, I said without hesitation. We'll take it. $2 billion. The company that tried to steal my work for $600 million had collapsed, and I'd built something worth more than triple that amount. The final twist came that evening. A familiar face appeared in our lobby, one of the Artemis board members who'd resigned during the scandal. Ms. Morgan, I'm Jennifer Walsh. I was on Artemis's board. I remember. I wanted to apologize. We should have done our due diligence. We should have protected the real innovators instead of enabling the Hale's ego trip. Why are you here, Jennifer? I'm starting a new venture fund focused on engineer-led companies, real builders, not MBA pretenders. I'd like Aegis Nova to be our flagship investment. We don't need funding. We have $2 billion in contracts. Not for money, for connections. I sit on 12 boards. Those companies need what you've built. I considered it. 10% equity for strategic partnerships only. No board seat, no control. 15% with a board observer seat. 12% observer seat. And you personally apologized to every engineer Liam insulted during his tenure. She extended her hand. Deal. 6 months after the demo disaster, I received one final communication about Artemis. The bankruptcy court had finished liquidating assets. The building, the furniture, the patents they actually owned, everything sold to pay creditors who'd never see a fraction of what they were owed. But there was a footnote that made me smile. Liam Hale had been convicted on all counts. 15 years federal prison, $200 million in personal fines. His father got 5 years and $50 million in fines. They'd tried to steal from an engineer and ended up losing everything. I kept a photo from the news coverage on my desk, Liam in handcuffs, being led from the courthouse. Whenever a new hire joined Aegis Nova, they'd ask about it. That's what happens when you underestimate engineers, I'd tell them. When you call us decorative dolls. When you steal our work. When you think we're too focused on our code to fight back. Then I'd show them our client wall Horizon Dynamics, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, Tesla, and 43 others. Each logo represented a company that valued real innovation over stolen promises. But this, I'd say, gesturing to our bustling office, this is what happens when engineers are respected, valued, and given the freedom to build something extraordinary. The last time I checked, someone had updated Liam's LinkedIn from prison, former COO at Artemis Analytics, currently reflecting on past decisions. I had the screenshot framed. People sometimes ask if I regret destroying Artemis. The answer is always the same. I didn't destroy anything. I simply refused to let them steal what I'd built. They destroyed themselves with greed, arrogance, and the fatal mistake of underestimating someone they saw as decoration. My name is Elise Morgan. I'm an engineer, and this is what happens when you try to steal from us. The decorative doll had the last laugh after all. Thank you so much for listening to this story of corporate revenge and justice served cold. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below, and let's connect. If you enjoyed this tale of an engineer's ultimate revenge, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. Have you ever faced similar disrespect in your workplace? How did you handle it? Your stories inspire our next episodes, so don't be shy. Share them in the comments below.